Hi, this is Dominic from Paphos Life, and in today's film we're starting at Peyia Stadium and we're driving along the coast road to Paphos. So let's have the map up first of all, and as I said, we're starting at the stadium and we're coming onto the coast road. My narration's pretty pointless for this map, to be honest. Driving down to the Kissonerga community beach and then carrying on down to Tomb of the Kings Road, and then we'll be heading up through Old Town to make our way towards Lidl. Yes, I always find it's one of those routes that doesn't really require a map, but part of that's because I'm used to all the routes anyway. So anyway, this is Peyia, and it was a cloudy day but nice blue sky. There was a lot of rain later in the day though, I have to say, not in Peyia but up in Potima. If you see that film that Alex posted about the waterfall, storm, this was the day that was on, so we were lucky. I mean, she was down at Peyia Market in the morning. She had a little stall there selling stuff, and I'd just been there to say hello, and now we're heading towards Paphos. Yeah, the Peyia Market runs every Sunday, and not every Sunday, every month on a Sunday. I think it's the first Sunday of the month, but don't quote me on that. Could be the last Sunday for all I know. Because it gets a bit confusing at the moment. There's been so many bank holidays popping up, but they've had to reschedule things and whatnot. But it's a Sunday in a month. And we've gone through Peyia and we're heading down towards Coral Bay now. So you're looking towards the coast. It all looks very nice and sunny. But yeah, we had a lot of rain up in Potima yesterday. It's all good. I mean, the reservoirs definitely need it, and they need lots more besides. But sorry, that was just a message popping up. It was a message from you, Tony, if you're watching. Anyway, if I was a true professional, I would cut that out. But I'm not really. Anyway, we're coming down to part of the Paphos empire of shops, not just there. I think that's a wedding resort, that one there. But you've got Paphos supermarket and home base and all sorts in a minute. I did hear a rumour that there's going to be an Alpha Mega popping up in Coral Bay at some point. Though, if you live here, you will get to hear quite a few rumours, is all I can say. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I looked at the weather forecast for this week, and it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and it's supposed to be nice and sunny, and it's sunny with a few clouds for the rest of the week. But the rain seems to have finished for the time being. I say that partly with jubilation and partly with a bit of sadness, because I know we do actually need the rain. We'll just see what happens, basically. Because there's been so many articles in the press recently about desalination plants, and eventually you realise they're all talking about the same thing. And it reminds you of the old government tactics back in the UK, where they'd announced the same package for the NHS or something about 5 times. So you'd think they'd given them billions, and it turns out they've only given them 500,000 or something. I don't know. I won't bring politics in here though. So anyway, we're coming onto the main coast road now. On our right, we've got the little roundabout that leads into Coral Bay Strip, and we'll be turning left here though. If you hear a funny little tinkling bell in the background, that's one of our cats. Saying that, he's stopped moving now, so the bell's disappeared. And on the right, you've got the linear park, where you can park there for the linear park. And the linear park itself walks down and goes down to the coast. And there's an outdoor gym, tennis courts, and what have you along the way, and picnic areas. There's some loos, but they've always been locked. So at some point, hopefully, they will start unlocking them and people will be able to use them. Otherwise, there's not a lot of point in having them. But this is Potima Bay, rather large. If you like our films, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and share them far and wide. The more people who see them, the more it benefits us with the YouTube algorithm. So leave comments and stuff as well. And if you want to help us out financially, go to our Buy Me a Coffee page at buymeacoffee.com/Paphos Life. All coffees are very, very gratefully received, I can assure you. We are currently in the process of updating our merchandise site, so I won't plug that. I will go onto Facebook though, because this is quite a long road and there's not a lot to say about it really. If you want to find out what we're doing at any time, your best bet is to follow us on Facebook. Our Paphos Life Facebook page has now got over 80,000 followers, and basically anytime we publish a new film on YouTube, a new blog article on our main site, or just a photo or a short clip on Facebook, it'll go there. And if you want to say hello, join our Paphos Chat or Cyprus Chat Facebook group. Now, we're coming up to where the CU Beach Bar used to be, one of the main sunset points of Cyprus. And now it's known as Kissonerga Community Beach. And they put up some temporary structures, I think, probably showers from what someone said, and loos, I'd imagine. I haven't checked them out yet, so don't quote me on that. I will pop in later in the week to see what's going on there. But yeah, and it does look like they're going to be opening another restaurant now. I mean, I think the Peyia municipality put out a tender for it or something. I'm not sure. All my what I'm saying here is what I've read, sort of like third-hand comments on Facebook. So, but that's where the CU Beach Bar used to be. So it no longer looks like a building site anyway, which is a plus point. Now, we're coming up to one of the main junctions on this road. If you go left, it'll take you through Lember, where the Lember Art College is, and Kissonerga, and after that it will be Clorica, and then you'll get to Paphos Old Town. And funnily enough, we will end up on that road at the end of this film, but from a different direction, because we're going to go all the way to the Tomb of the Kings Road, and then up through Old Town, and we'll end up on what that road would have been. But now we're going up the hill to the various hotels up here. You got Kissonerga Coast Path up here as well, which is very popular, and lots of cones there to get a battering, the poor things. We feel so. One day they'll put up more solid cones, and then quite a few drivers will have a funny shock. So anyway, they sometimes have a market here. I think it was before Christmas and Easter was the last I heard of them, but I don't think they did a Christmas market here in that car park on the left last year. Right, if you turn right there, it'll take you to a nice little parking area if you want to go and explore the Kissonerga Coast Path, and it's definitely well worth exploring that. It's a very nice walk. Not too long, but especially a good place to go after a meal if you want to lose a pound or two. But we're heading into Lember now, soon. In terms of coast paths on our right, it's a bit of a bushwhacking affair at the moment, or climbing over rocks. There's definitely nothing official between here and Sandy Bay, which is in Lember. We're just coming up to Sandy Bay soon. I will highlight that when we go past it. Prior to that, there are a few villas, and after the villas there's a very odd rocky area. I'm not sure why that's never been developed or anything. I'm sure there's a reason to it. And there's no path whatsoever there other than just walking over bare rock. It's not a difficult walk still, but not somewhere you could take a buggy or anything like that. I mean a wheelchair sort of buggy, pushchair. Right, up here on the right is where Sandy Bay is. It's a lovely beach, but very dangerous for riptides and stuff like that, so don't swim unless there's lifeguards present. You often have surfers there as well when the surf's up. one of the few beaches that they tend to actually surf on. Yeah, we just went past poppadoms there on the left. That's significant, especially if you like curries, but also because it highlights where the coast path that starts in New Oskapoo ends. Basically, it goes all the way from New Oskapoo, Paphos, Cloaca, a little bit of Lemper, and ends right there. So behind all these, it's the Asia Resort and Baracas Lounge Bar at the moment on the right. Behind all that, there's a coast path running, and that goes all the way to Paphos and New Oskapoo. And these days, after a lot of renovation, it's a very nice place indeed. Now we're coming up to another set of traffic lights. There was a big queue here, so there's a bit of a jump there. This is the lights at St George. So you've got St George Hotel, St George Chapel, and St George Beach on the right there. But it's one of those traffic lights with attitude, basically. If you jump them, you can get fined of up to €300. So that's why the traffic is so bad at them, is because people are extra special cautious that they don't fall foul of any cameras. I mean, I can see their validity, but in places like, especially the one at the end of Missouri Road, it has made a complete pig's ear of traffic there now. It's a nightmare because it takes you about 4 times as long to get through up the road as it used to. So if anyone in power is watching this film, please do bear that in mind. Go and sort out the priorities again. Either that or just remove the cameras from the thing and let people work it out for themselves again like they used to. But I'm not going to go on in excess about that. We are coming through Cloaca, and it won't be long before we get to the dual carriageway and the gateway that signifies that we're entering Paphos. There are, I think, 12 gateways to Paphos they erected in 2017. It was part of their Paphos capital of culture in the EU, and it was great fun that year. I remember it very fondly indeed. It was just after we moved, and of course when you have something big like that, you get to think, oh, is it like this all the time? Will there be events happening everywhere every year? And no, of course not. It was only because it was 2017, but they do still have a special event. I mean, the favourite event that they did last year for me was their street performance festival on down at the seafront. I had a great time there. It was really good fun. So I do hope that they repeat that. And I keep banging on about that, because stuff like that is very good at pulling in people. Anyway, you've got Alice Restaurant on the right here, I think. Alice Land. That's been there. I mean, the first time we came to Cyprus, it must be, I'll say about 18 years ago, on holiday, they used that place as a landmark. And I don't think I've ever seen it open. But it must open, and someone was asking me why I never feature Alice Land, and it's never, I suppose I need to go there at night really, but it's not the sort of route I would film at night because there's nothing around it, so most of it would just be black. But I do apologise to them if they were a bustling hubbub. Anyway, yeah, we're now in on the dual carriageway. And we're going to go past Capital Coast in a little bit, and if you want to get to Venus Beach, you go to Capital Coast basically and turn, well, you take the turning for Capital Coast and then take the first turning immediately before their car park, and that'll loop you over and around the front of Capital Coast and put you down next to Venus Beach Hotel. And that's how you get to Venus Beach, and there's Venus Beach Hotel on the right. And I mention all that is because if you're driving to Venus Beach, your obvious option would be to turn in at Venus Beach Hotel. But if you do that, you'll find you can't actually get to the car park. So I'm saving you a little bit of anxiety. Right, soon we'll be coming up to Tomb of the Kings Roundabout, and we will be turning left there rather than carry straight on. If I had carried straight on, I'd have ended up at Kings Avenue Mall. Well, I could have turned right for the seafront and harbour, or left for Old Town. But there are quite a few routes to get to Old Town, and one of them is this route that we're just going on now. So if you're coming on Coral Bay, this is how you get to Old Town without having to go through the centre of Paphos via Kings Avenue Mall. So pay attention. Turn left here. If you turned right, you'll be in Tomb of the Kings. And if you're interested in any Paphos Football Club memorabilia, and I do believe they are now top of the league and they won it this year, so fair play to them. But anyway, by the roundabout is where you can get all their merchandise and tickets, though I presume if they've just won the league, then they won't be selling any tickets for a while. Now, this is a fairly nondescript area we're driving through, but we will in a minute get an example of another form of Cypriot traffic jam, because normally if you get loads of goats in front of you, that's called a Cypriot traffic jam. But what you can also find is that a couple of people, normally old boys, will just stop for a chat, which is what's happening here. And in this instance, you just go past them. Now, it got to a little bit of a dilemma, because then someone wanted to come right, and of course he couldn't come right properly, so he had to have a little gentle nudging going on, like, oh, let me do-si-do. There we go. So we go right here, and immediately you turn left here, and now we're heading up to Old Town. Yes, you could honk your horn and stuff like that, but there's no point. Just be prepared to like wait for 30 seconds to a minute. Siga siga, as they say, which means slowly, slowly. After all, people who move to Cyprus, traditionally you move because you wanted a quieter pace of life. So don't get uptight when you get one, basically. Anyway, so we turned right at the top. There's a very nice coffee shop on the right just in there, which I heartily recommend. It's got amazing gardens as well, with nature trails and all sorts in it. But this is the car park below Old Town, and you have to pay to use this. We've got an article in the pipeline about using paying for parking and all that. I need to speak to Alex about where we stand with that, and then we'll get that published in the next day or two. But now we've driven up to Old Town. If you take a bus or a taxi to Old Town, they will more than likely drop you off here. On your right, you'll have Old Town Market, which has now got a cover on, and I need to go for a walk around that to show you that. And soon you'll be able to see again the Mutalos Mosque coming up on the left. Now, in the previous film I did last year, there's the mosque, after seriously heavy rain, there was a car here on the left, and it remained there for weeks, I think, before it eventually got moved, but it's now gone. And this is the centre of Old Town where all the car parking is. There's the final part of the cinematography trail was there on the left. And now we're on the road, which had we taken the Kissonerga turning back by the Kissonerga community beach, this is where we'd have ended up, but obviously coming in the other direction. And amazingly, we didn't have to stop at those traffic lights, but we will be stopping in a minute because I'm not going to film all the way to Lidl, but that's where we were going. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next film. Cheers.